Hello everybody. I'm just tidying a quick tidy in a drawer that I've got here because it's super untidy. Before Andrew comes. So one thing I wanted to share with you is when you've got producers and directors, what you actually do when you're on a TV channel is you absolutely listen to them and they become your eyes and ears, and it's really quite interesting because whatever they say I would repeat. So they would say, you know, for instance, I'm having pizza for dinner, and I would go, they're having pizza for dinner. I was like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. Andrew just said, so are you ready to go live? And then I said, I'm tidying up before Andrew comes down and tells me off. See what I mean? That's what I've got to put up with. Anyway, hello everybody. I'm glad you're here. Hi Donna, hi Lou. Hope you're okay. Hope everybody's had a lovely evening. Hi Lorraine Estepona. Wow, that's in Spain, I think. Oh, I like Spain, my favourite places. Andrew's just come back. Imagine he partied every night as part of a stag party. Looked rough when he got back. What you're having for dinner? I'm starting to think it's that time of night. Starting to think what is going to be for supper tonight. I've got Mel, the lovely Mel Heaton's with me tonight. I've got to think of something I'm going to give her for a tea. So I'm trying to think of what we could actually have. So chicken kebab and salad. I'm looking for. Oh, apparently there's a garlic bread in the fridge. That's been there a couple of days. Anybody got any good ideas on what I could have for my supper? I'd really appreciate it. What's everybody else having? Catherine, hello, how are you? Hello, everybody. I'm ready when you are. Oh, look. Okay, so let's have a vote. Okay, this is how long my fringe is. So, do I go back and have my fringe cut in again, or do I grow it out? You decide. Oh, that's a good idea, tapas. Yeah, I love it when it's got chicken thighs in it and all that lovely saffron and mussels as well. Lou said steak and salad. I had steak and salad last night, Lou. It was actually really, really, really good. Cut it. Lorraine says cut it. Fine. Oh, we've got too many questions. What, am I having a chicken's haircut? Or is that for dinner? Chicken for dinner. Right, Andrew, what time is it? Come on then, guys. Let's get crafting. Okay, so I am just going to go back through some of the cards that we looked at earlier. I've got a completely different demo for you, though. So if you were watching earlier, you're in for a treat. So we had a few conversations, or I did a few conversations about seagull poop. They're all true. And Carl, first of all, saw my sister and said, do you remember that day when in the car? And she went, yes. And then I saw Carl and both of us had a little giggle about Elsie. Right, so here we go. Couple of cards for you. So first of all, this one. Really interesting that we've got the lavender in here, or lilac. So what you wouldn't expect is to see that with the seagulls, but the inspiration for this has been picked up from the colours in the background. So go through all of your backgrounds. You'll be surprised how many of them actually work for all of this. And what you have got in today's Facebook Live is I've got little thieves, which are seagulls, and they come in 2 different sizes. So quite loving this. And I love the fact we've called them little thieves because they do. They eat your chips, they eat your sandwiches, they're little monkeys. Then by the river, this fabulous little pub. And I'm going to show you in this demo how to use the piece that I cut away. But when I was doing my demo earlier, this is actually, you look at it and you're thinking, wow, need lots of different sizes of pub because this comes as one piece. It looks like we've got 3 different buildings here because of the way I've layered it up. So I'm just going to show you a new way of layering it up and actually putting it on the sort of bank, if you like. So that's both of those. Then another one here, this one quite clever, where it utilises not only the scene that we've got, but also that oval. So it almost looks like it's the sky and the clouds. It looks fabulous. Another one here with a spot of yellow. Now, this little flower that we've got here is actually, we've got it on a special price for you. It's at £4.19. But if you're a Robins Club member, £3.35 would get you this collection of dies that I've got there. And this is how many you're actually going to get. So it's really quite a nice collection for the price. So there's that one. And there you can see some of the designs on our website. Then we've got the next one, which I absolutely love. And again, you've got the seagulls over the edge and then the story continuing inside. So another great way of being able to create your design. This is quite an interesting one where the aperture that's been cut out has been dropped from the front to the back, then continued the design. And this is another part of this that is clever. Taking the, so you've got here the barge and then creating this element by using your die and using it on the backing paper. So that actually all comes together. This is another one from Steve. And he's really enjoying the fact that it's taking the story from the front. And when you open it up, there's a whole other story there. And I'm actually really loving that as well. It's been my inspiration for looking at a new range that I want to do for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you one last one. And it's this one. And this one has got a double layer of acetate. So I'm just going to put my fingers under there so you can see them. And up here. And if I open this up a bit, you can see the acetate. So what could we use here? Well, our inks, our marker pens, or print this onto printable acetate, then construction acetate, hold it all together. And that's a lovely card that Louise has made for us. So, hi, Donna. So I will be having a small green salad. It's the same as I've had every night for the last 18. Oh my goodness. Wow. Donna, congratulations. That's in 18 months. Is that a typo? Is that really how much you've lost? What do you have in the daytime? Congratulations. That is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations. I'm almost speechless. Where has your willpower come from? That is just, I hope you're well. Wow. Wow. Send me before and afters. Let's see the inspiration. I'm just so excited for you. That's amazing. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to use a float. I'm going to use By the River, and I'm also going to use my little thieves. So let's take a look at what this is going to look like. So there's a look at the collection. If you want to get it, it's available on Highlight Crafts. There's a link in the Facebook Live post. And can I also just mention to everybody, because we're starting next year and actually towards this year, in fact, only a few weeks away, we're going to be sending out inspiration and information about what we're going to do with all of our classes. So this is all of our workshops and all of our online stuff, everything. So if you are not already registered, please will you go to the Highlight Crafts website, log in, create yourself an account and register, because we can't tell you what's happening and when. And I want you guys to be the first to get the chance to put your names down. So there you go. That's where you go. It's super duper easy and it gives you the chance to get ahead of everybody else. Right. I want to get crafting. So I have chosen, first of all, a square card. And this is a square card that is from our viewfinders. Now, what I could do is I could put a scene behind it, but in case you don't have scenes at home, I want to do something a little bit different. So the first thing that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take my scoreboard and I'm going to just do a little bit of scoring. And I'm just going to score at 5 centimetres. You just make sure that that goes down there. And because I've made a little scuff mark there, I'm going to score just inside there as well. So I've scored at 5 and 5. So I'm scoring at 5 again on this side. So both sides at 5. And then this one, just inside. And for anybody who's a painter and was on the Facebook Live for painting, I'm going to be doing that draw straight after this show. So, and I saw actually some of you had still actually were just putting in your details to make sure you got entered. So you've got until I finish this show. So I've just made that first score line and I'm just going to score the first panel in place. Okay. Now, the next one, I'm going to just slide my finger amongst here so that I'm getting it against the next score line. And you can see that I've created that little edge. Okay, so that's like our little box piece. And I've got some seagull facts for you. So, did you know that seagulls have nearly 360-degree vision? How can they do that? They've got the back of the head. So, do you know what it is? They don't need to move their head. Their eyeballs move all by themselves. Well, with a little bit of help from their brain, but they do. Their eyeballs will move. They actually can learn behaviour patterns and pass it on to other seagulls. So imagine that. They could learn what day of the week is chip day and pass it on to their mates. That's why they steal the chips. Okay, so you can see, everybody, that's what I've just done, created that little box. Right, now I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to work flat. But the reason that I wanted to do that was to make sure, I'm just going to turn it round, make sure that it's creased on both sides, but to really be able to manipulate this before I've filled the whole thing with all of my different elements. So I've got 3 pieces of card. I've got sort of like a grey green, I've got a moss green and some blue. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure this cardstock so it's about the width of that panel. And then this is my little cheat for you. So when I'm at home and I don't have any time to sit and find myself the guillotine, what I do is I take another piece of cardstock, make sure it's at a right angle, line it up like this, and then I can take my scissors and use that as a guide to cut my card. And there we go. There's my piece of card cut. I'm going to cut the other 2 so that they are the same size. So I'm going to do that. And the next one is here. Now, apparently seagulls mate for life. So that's why this one is taking flowers to his mate. So there, that's another little fact for you, which they're like penguins. Please check these facts out. Don't use them in a pub quiz until you've checked them out, because I could be wrong. Okay. And, do you know, Andrew, you are feeding me a load of drivel. Just so that anybody knows, Andrew's actually my lovely producer. Oh, sorry, / director, / what shall I call him? Seagull know-it-all. Right, so I chose a piece of white cardstock that has got a white core, and I'm just creating a bit of foam. And so what I did was I pulled the first one back so it tore it and left the white exposed. Now I want this blue exposed but not the white, so I'm now tearing it to the back and pulling off that white. So can you see how I've gone from blue to white? So let me just do that again for you. So if I tear through my white core, I get this, okay? And then you come back to where the white is and you pull it from to behind so that you get it like that. So I'm now making a little bit of sort of a wave that my canal boat is going to go through, just like that. And it's a little bit too much. So, because there's not really waves on the canals, but there's a little bit of movement, just a little bit of movement, I think. Look at that, that works. That's actually going to work. Right, so let me just double check this. So I'm going to do that so we can see the front of it a little bit there. Tuck you in about there. Then my next canal boat is going to be coming along behind. So we're going to move you right over there, and this one coming up behind. So it's going to go about there. So I might even, let's see, do I want another one in there? Let's have a look. Yeah, so we could have extra canal boats. So to make sure they don't all look the same, I'm going to take the little red cushions off this one and the plant pot. So it's a bit different. And that's a little bevy of canal boats there, all travelling together. Okay, I'm liking that. So that's part of it. So let's put this on under here and just see how this is coming together. So I'm just going to lift up that canal boat so it goes there. That water's very high up, isn't it? Just going to put him there, him there. Just that little bit of water there, tugging along. Then I've got, where's that bit of blue gone again? So just a tear. Now, of course, remember, if you have got reflections, you can put this into Minecraft Studio and change the colours. So I'm just going to trim this off. And you can download the reflections, everybody, remember, on the website. So I'm just going to take that, not too much, just a little bit of movement in the water. I just don't want it all too still, but I do want it coming off the page like that. Then I need a little bit of a path. And again, I'm just going to tear this, but this time I've chosen something that has got a brown core. So I'm just going to put this in here. So I've just got a little bit of the foliage coming together. So just going to leave that there. So got a bit of extra detail. Now I need my pubs. Okay, so my pubs are going to go right. Oops, so we've just got to get them tucked under. So right in here. So just get you under there. There we go. So just going to see that bit. So it's all about getting the balance of everything all ready. I'm not quite convinced that that's in the right place. So let me just see if I need to have that as a second boat. So I'm just checking this out, looking at the dimension. Yes, I think it looks better if it's coming along afterwards rather than in front. So I've got that there. But the thing that is actually going to make all of this come together is, so I need to move that down because it looks like the pub's voting. So we're just going to go here. And you're right, Andrew, you are going to get in trouble. So I'm just going to, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that wherever there's a little tiny bit of space, it's covered. I don't want to accidentally see a little bit of the wrong colour in the wrong place. So we're just bringing all of these elements. I probably don't need all this blue actually, but let's see. I think I just need that bit there. Then the pub can go here. So I've got that one there. This one needs to come right to the front like that. So it's actually coming across the front. Other choice is to take the pub there. We can take it across the back of it. I actually quite like that. So I think we might stick with that. And we might just put a tiny little bit of the next. No, it doesn't need that barge. So I am going to leave that one out. I'm going to look at what happens if I change the size of this. Does that look better and more in proportion? Certainly looks like the boats have come a little way forward. But I've got this one, this other piece. Now this was a piece I cut away earlier. So if I come in here and I just tuck that in to where it loses itself behind the chimney, I can make it so that the pub looks a little bit taller. Or if I move this one out the way and I put this one back in place, so let's take it underneath the barges, again, it looks like I've got an extra eave there. Or I can bring it right across here and create another part to it. So it's a double, I've got this extra row that's going on amongst the design. Now, the other part of it is, what do I do with all my other elements? Well, I haven't made the most of having the bulrushes. And I've got these fabulous bulrushes, which we call corn dogs. And they're just going to sit in here while the other elements of it, so the greenery and all the sort of rushes that are closer, are going to be here. So I'm looking at the balance of the design and thinking about how I want to do it. Wondering if I would feel more comfortable if I made this an accent to the front. And I'm going to just bring these reeds along the front of there, along with a little bit of the pink, yellow even. Everybody's going, yellow, yellow. And I think we probably might need to just tuck that inside the frame. That was a good idea, Andrew. So I'm just looking at that. Put the boat in front. Right, so we're there. So I'm going to lift all this off and now do some gluing. So first of all, this is this panel that I've got here. So I'm going to need these two pieces that I've got at the bottom. So I'm taking a little bit of my bookbinding glue and I'm just going to put the detail across here. And the other thing is I'm just going to turn this round so I can now tidy it all up as I'm working. Now, one thing I don't think I mentioned was if you were to sign up on our emails, we actually are going to give you 10% off your order or your new sign-uppers. And that is 10% in addition to the discounts and the deals that we've got. And if you want to join Robin's Club, our Robin's Nesters, you can do that and you'll get 20%. So we've got lots of lovely stuff going on today. And the other thing I can tell you is I've just finished painting my next lot of painting pages, which is Christmas. And you're going to see all of that going out next week, no, week after. There's still time to get tickets to Doncaster if you don't already have them. So don't miss that, because that really is, I think, one of the best events of the year. So that's looking good, isn't it? So now let's take a look at what we've got here. So we're going to put this at the back, and I've got that extra pub, haven't I? So I've got to decide. I am going to go with a slightly larger one. So I'm going to take my tape and I'm just going to put the tape on the edge of that piece of detail. And so if it goes there, so I've got it hanging over the edge. So when this lines up, you're going to see that extra bit of detail, but it will be lifted by a couple of mil away. But I actually think that won't be enough. So I'm going to put another layer up on here and pop that together. I would still love to hear what you're having for dinner, everybody. I'm definitely needing some inspiration. Right. Now, because I've got 2 layers of foam there, although this is going to stick to this, and in fact, let me do that now, because that means I can free up my hand. So I'm lining this up so that it comes, so that that edge lines up just over this one. So it's about there. It's good. Yep, happy with that. Now I need 2 layers of foam here to bring it up to the same height. Louise is having smoked salmon and a poached egg on Philadelphia. Oh, on Philadelphia. That must be on Philadelphia toast, I'm thinking. So there we can see that's that part of the design. Now, look at what happens if I lift that up and I then hold this bit down. It actually looks like we've got a little bit of a curve going on. And that is the effect that I want to get here, because I'm creating different layers of dimension and different layers of detail. So that one's going to hold down there. And this one, with just a little bit of glue, is going to hold down here. So must make sure that when I put this on, I get it on level and I capture this corner here. So I'm happy with that part of it. Because I now have got my position, I'm just going to line this up and run my craft knife along the bottom here. So I'm just using the edge of my frame to make sure that I get a straight cut. So I'm going to go back over that a second time because I've got a double layer of card under here. Since this morning, I have changed the blade on my craft knife, and can't you tell, because look at how easily that came away. And if you go for this, you do get spares, and it actually comes with the embossing tool, pokey tools, and tweezers as well, which great for using for all these different design elements. Now I need to go back to my barges and look at how now that starts to come together. And this is what I meant about needing these pieces in, because we don't want that to just disappear. We want the extra elements of dimension. This looks like it is now just coming along this part of a wall, which could be the canal, the edge of the canal. So I've got detail here that I need to fill. So first of all, I want to see whether I need to put in some reeds to just bring in some dimension, and absolutely I do. So these two lots of reeds are just coming in here, and these are on a deal, everybody, so you can get these ones as well. And I think this one's just $5.59 if you're a club member, if you're a member of Two Robins Nest, if you're a nester. So there we go, that's that piece. Keeping it lined up at the bottom, because remember, that's where I know I need to be. Then I'm going to put that there. Oh, Mary, I'm coming to yours. Your dinner sounds lovely. Just having a steak pine chips. I don't know why I did this. I'm just making myself hungry, aren't I? Andrew's got a 2-hour drive home, and I'm not finishing work till 8 o'clock. So that's going to be a proper, yeah. So look at this. So I've got some little reeds growing at the side. Now I need to decoupage this up. And I made a right hash of it earlier. So I'm going to do this again. And it's okay, you lot saying, oh, it's fun when you make a mistake. But I'm actually supposed to be good at this. So Andrew's just laughing. But it's true. I'm supposed to be good at it. Right, I'm going to just cut these parts now. Let's see where I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut there. And I need to, I know I've got an idea of something I can show you. So I'm just going to cut like that. I'm going to cut there. I hope this is going to work, because I've just seen the picture in my head of how it's going to look. And so these curtains are looking like they are just moving in the breeze, okay? So where's that still attached? Up there. So that's that one. This one. So what I'm doing, you can see, I'm cutting the window out, but I'm leaving the curtains. So cut the window, but leave the curtains. Now, what I was trying to work out was, when you could hear everything, all that ticking noise, that was me thinking, how I'm going to get some acetate behind this window and still keep my curtains in place. So what I've done, I've pushed that one down. I've got that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. What a difference a new blade makes, everybody. Then I've got a piece of acetate. And if I now push the acetate so that the curtains are behind it, but it's in front, look, the curtains are behind the acetate. So I need to just think about how I'm going to get that acetate a little bit higher up. So I need a few more cuts here. I need to go up a little bit higher just to get the acetate in place. I don't think it's going to spoil the design at all. I think it is going to make a real difference when I put this in. So I'm going to put the curtains out like that and slide that underneath like that, so that we have got the window with the acetate there. Much happier with the way that went than earlier, because earlier was a bit of a disaster, if I'm honest. I mean, let's be truthful about things. No, you lot are all really kind. I'm just going to pop that there. So I've just trimmed that down to make sure that that sits. Now, the only thing I think I need to do to keep it and secure it in place is some red liner tape. And I do believe that that liner tape could literally just go under that panel there, and that would be sufficient. And I'm going to just here, Jane's having a tin of peaches for a tea. That sounds really nice. Oh, you lot have got good taste, you know. Andrew hopes he's having whatever his lovely wife cooks. There we go. So look at that. So now I've got my windows in there and my curtains, which is exactly what we hoped we were going to do. So then, when I then bring this onto here and I lift it up, because I've left those curtains still with a little bit of movement, it adds extra dimension to the design that I've got. So I'm going to go in here and take out the cushions and the plant pot, because I don't want those on there. I'll keep it so that there's no flowers yet. And that can then sit on here. However, I think I'm going to go back to what I did earlier, and I'm just going to give myself a little bit of detail to be able to boost it up. And while I've done that, I'm just hoping that I haven't done what I think I did, which I did, and that was I took the tape off there. So my windows were about to fall out. So I need to put my windows back in, otherwise I've got a dilemma. So I'm just going to pop those back in, and that will be where it needs to go. So there we go. Really, really pleased with the result of that, because this didn't go well earlier today. So that's good. That's exactly the kind of look I'm wanting. Then, to give me some stability, I'm going to just use my foam. Now, when you actually want to work with foam like this, take the piece of waste that you've got, and I'm just going to lay that over the top. So that now isn't sticky. And that then means that when I cut a piece for myself off at a diagonal like that, all I need to do is peel the back off one of the edges, and it allows me to fill in that gap that I've done there. Now I can take the back off these two panels that I've got here. And thank you everybody who've joined in. Do you know, I've been so thrilled with how many people are joining, and it's been really, really exciting. Mel and I have been planning this afternoon what we can do for you by way of some more free classes. And I'm just going to hold this up because I want you to be able to see how this actually bows. So I'm just going to get that little bit of fluff off. How that bows, and the window actually is slightly curved. So this little corner here, or this little tiny bit of paper, I'm just holding that down. And now we've got our curtains in place and everything else is all lined up. Now, this part of the boat is looking like it's being left behind. So we need to come on to here, and we've got to get some detail on this. Oh, this is interesting. There's something here I need to show you. Right, when you get your boat reflections, everybody, this bit is and I found this out by mistake. So I'm going to just share it with you, because I did it and thought, oh great, this is actually, I've got to show everybody what I did. So if you take, let me get the right one. So if you take the die that you've got, when you're cutting your reflections, you line this up just like that, don't you? Well, there's enough movement in these dies to just move this down. I'm talking about a millimetre. So you've got like just a millimetre at the top there and nothing at the bottom. And that's what I did on this one. And it gave me this little bit of a white edge, which I think looks like the water. So it actually looked like I'd got a little bit of water, and it was really only where I didn't line the dye up properly. So that's how I did it, because now planning and going forward, I will be doing that actually on purpose. So I learnt and taught myself something today, realising that there are opportunities with these dyes. And anybody who saw me do the show that I did for Tattered Lace, and the magazine subscribers, and I actually showed you how to do that with the shoe, I think you'll agree it was clever being able to make the sole. So I'll put that away in a bit. Okay, so here's my boat, and I've got to get this detail in here. And can you see, when I hold it like that and I bow it a little bit, it starts to make it all look different. So I'm just going to hold it up like that. So I don't need quite that much, but I do need a little bit. So to get started, I put a dot down, put this here and hold that down. So you need to make sure that it is literally held in place. Then if you've got your pin flare glue gel in a syringe, you can literally just backfill it from underneath. But if you haven't, like me, mine's in a tube. I'm using one of my, oops, I've left this lid off. That's one of my glue stick applicators. And so I'm going to go back into this and get another really decent amount of that glue. There. Take that. And I'm going to go into the middle. And because I've attached this, each time I put some glue down, I can see how much I'm getting. And I think that will be the final amount. So I'm just going to spread that round. So you can see I'm spreading it round. I put my glue applicator in there while I'm waiting. And then the next part of this is just press that down. Take your bookbinding glue and just going to line that up and press that. So I've got where the hull bows, where this is where the sort of, not the corner of the boat, but it's where the corner of the house is and the boat bows round. Look at how I've actually taken my decoupage and I've made it follow that line. And that gives me a really good little boat to add into my picture. So I'm coming back to the picture that I've got. So here we go. We checked it all out first. I know where I need to go because I lined this up at the bottom, so I can line that back there. So I'm still all lined up. My boat is ready to go there. Look at the difference it makes that just doing that little bit of decoupage. It's really brought the whole thing to life. Now, I did have 2 of these, but I don't think I need a second one. I think I quite like it the way it is. Although I am going to find that smaller one because I want to cover this up. So let's put you just there with it coming through the water, making a little bit of water. So just check all that out. Yep, liking that. So I've now got it all lined up perfectly. So I'm going to take this one off and we're going to fill this. And then what I'm going to do with this, so I've got it as a little arrow, so I'm just going to pull that away. And Andrew is making jokes that are not funny. And he just said, no wonder my wife doesn't find me funny. I have to say, I totally agree with your wife. So see how that's all coming together. Now, this part of it is going to sit on front. So looking good. I've got that little bit of water coming through here. I've got some reeds that are going to sit just here. Just tuck a couple of them actually behind. So that breaks that up. And I'm going to do that. So you can see how behind and in front we're getting that little bit of detail. So let's get this down. And to do that, I'm going to put a piece of foam on this piece, on the background. So that's going to go there. And I now need to stick this down. But before I do that, I'm going to check that everything lines up. So I'm going to line up to the bottom there. Make sure that it's all within the frame, which it is. I'm just going to tidy up the edges, just the tiniest little bit. There's a little bit over there. There's a tiny little bit over, just there. And can I say a big hello to everybody, again, who's watching. It is such a pleasure to have your company. And apparently we're global. Oh, wow. We've got people in Spain. We've got somebody watching us in Pakistan. Do you know, that's amazing. Thank you. I'll just show you this little trick on a corner. So what you do, you come across the corner like that. Then you go across like that. I'm only going to do one for speed tonight, but I'm just going to cut that off. Then you, whoops, I didn't do what I needed to do, which was put my bit of tape just under there. Then you lift this up, you cut through that triangle, take that off, take that off, take that little bit off, and that gives you a mitered corner. And we'll get the backs off this. So that's the first part. That is the second. This is the third. And I need one more piece to go across here. And I'm sorry I'm not mitering the corner, which I should. If this was a card I was doing as a commission, I would definitely do that. I would miter the corners, because look at it. Look how much neater that looks than this. I mean, there's no comparison. But for speed, I'm just leaving it as it is. I've got, this is my panel. Wow. Is it possible that somebody can change their location and pretend? Because we've, I can't, you're telling us you're in South Africa and Cape Town and, Cape Town is in South Africa, apparently. Oh, Bulgaria as well. Right, so look at how I did that. So now I've lifted it up, created the shadow around the back edge. I just love sharing ideas with you guys. This is like the best thing that I do all day. And then I'm now coming in and I'm putting in our boat. And remember, I've already got that piece of foam in, so it's lifting this up and giving us the extra dimension. So now look at what we've done. We've got a shadow here, we've got depth here, and this is behind. So it really does look like this building is behind. We've got the reeds just growing at the side. And you know, these reeds grow literally sort of 8 foot tall. So I'm not worried about the height of that. I think it's in proportion. Look at how I've got the water just running along the bottom of this boat. This one, we've got that lovely curve on the corner. It's even got its own windows as it comes and looks like it's actually sailing across the bottom. And then I've still got the chance to play with this front corner and put something that's really dimensional there. And I've got to make a decision. Am I going to go with a bit more there? I think it needs to go inside. So the way that that's going to work, I'm going to trim off at the bottom. I'm going to take this of my glue, and I want this flat. So just a couple of little pieces. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to slide that right in. So it's only going down to where the foam is underneath and sliding down. Then I'm bringing that piece to the front. So I've now created this really interesting story. This needs to go on flat. So I'm going to take my glue down through the middle of this panel. So that's going to be my guide. So through there, up through the middle of that, and then it's on this side. So all the way up here, and then this bit. So I'm going to slide that off, and I know that I need to get that through the middle like that. So there's our design. Now, if I fold this back here, you can see how I've made myself a little box. And I fold that back, I've created the little box. And now if I lift that up, I've got the back is incredibly neat. The sides will actually support the design. And if I just get my fingernail and I run that down here, and I do the same on the other side, and I run it down, whoops, that's a bulrush in the way. And I just run it down there, and then I lift that up, that is going to stay perfectly stood up. And there we go. How good's that? And I'm sort of pleased with it because you've got these little bits of solid colour. So the brown in here, that really makes a big difference. The blue, having that little bit of white just showing through the bulrushes, just here, that little bit, where it actually is just giving us that little bit of white along the bottom of the boat. My boat here, and I've just flattened it, so I'm just going to make sure that I can lift that up again because I have made it too flat. So let me just go in there, and then rather than use my scissors and have to clean them, this is what things like these are for. I'm going to go into there, and just that. That is what was missing. That little bit of glue had been squashed down. Got that curve back. There we've got everything we need. And, oh, seagulls, seagulls. How did I forget? Oh, there's no seagulls. Right. So, Andrew wants a giant one. This one is on a little piece of acetate. So I'm just going to tuck it in there and see if it works. He does work. There, he is looking for chips. Right, so to get this so that you've got it on a piece of acetate and it doesn't actually spoil the design, I've got a Z. So I've got a piece to the bottom, a piece to the side, and a piece out. You can see it like that. This piece out has got a tuck under there. I know my foam starts about there. So I'm going to need to take a tiny little bit of that off. But then put my liner tape, and I just need to get a bit that's sticky because that's got loads of stuff off my desk on it. And put that down. And that is going to go on here. Now I've got a couple of people asking where I'd put my sentiment. So I'll show you that in just a second. So I'm going to go there. Oops, I just want to snip. So got a bit of, I don't know what that is there. Right, so there's my piece there. That's going to slide underneath that little ridge that I've got just there. Get you right inside, right in, press that down, pull that back, and there's my little bird. So there he is. So you can see him. Right, so where would we put our sentiment? Well, let me make myself a little sentiment plaque. And we'll just pretend that it's got some words on it because I don't think I've got anything with a message on at the moment. I'm just having a quick look. No, doesn't appear to be. So just double checking, because if I have, we'll make the sentiment work. But I'm afraid I don't have a sentiment. So we'll make the little sentiment plaque and pretend it's got words on. So I've got a few places that I might like to put something. I'll use, I'm going to use some of this green because that would probably be one of the colours I would work with, although the grey looks good. So I would choose a colour that matches the design. I think the grey. So first of all, let's just cut this straight. So remember everybody, fingers on these scissors so that you can support your card. I'm looking at where I'm going, not where I'm cutting. So I'm going across here like that. Let's see how good I am. I'm going to put that to, oh, I love it when I do this. This is just because I've got a thing about straight lines, everybody, but I'm just going to show you that up to there. So it's level. Just going to push that over. I don't think I could be much straighter. So let's just do that. But this goes wonky now. So it did. There it is. Oh, it's still wonky. It's getting shorter. Right. So I might put my sentiment just there. I might put my sentiment up there. I might take, I'm not going to try and embarrass myself by cutting a circle. Oh, here, let's go. Let's see what happens. So we'll cut. Don't judge me on my wonky circles, please, everybody. Andrew says it's a bit smaller than he thought. It's getting smaller as I go. It is getting smaller. Yep, it's getting smaller and smaller. Okay, so little sentiment. Definitely doesn't look okay here. Could, I think there, but with a bigger one. And what I have just seen that I think might look quite nice is using an oval. And an oval just there, or an oval just there, or in fact, an oval in the middle, which would probably be my preferred choice. So I think I would go with a sentiment down at the bottom, even taking it slightly over the reeds, or an oval up in the top. I don't know what would be your personal choice, but I think that gives you some options. Lots of different places you can put it. Wow, look at this. I've had the best possible time. And before we go, everybody, if you're not a member of Robin's Nest, please join us. So many fabulous benefits, but you're going to be getting lots of lovely craft projects and lots of education going forward. If you haven't got Summer's Afternoon, you can get that right now. And do remember, everybody, that we're going to be bringing you lots more education and inspiration. And it's not always about the product that we're working with. It's product that you've already got at home. It's taking you on a journey. But the only way you are going to find out about all of that is by joining the Highlight Crafts database. And what that means is we can then send you information. We're starting training. You'll be the first to hear about all of our workshops. We were talking about some of the projects that we're going to do. We'll only, on face-to-face classes where we do retreats, 6 or 8 people. So you can visit the website, but that's where you register. Go to my account. If you've already registered, just log in. But if you're not, don't forget, tick that box to sign up, because if you don't, we won't send you anything. So please don't miss out. Now, what am I having for my tea? You've given me loads of ideas, but I think it might be a fish finger sandwich. That sounds good, doesn't it? Until next time. See you. Take care, everybody. Stay safe. Lots of love.